And like I did like briefly talk about how antipsychotics kind of like allow me to be more into my internal world and like kind of cut off the telepathic psychicism. But I know some people are afraid of taking medication because they feel like it's going to sever their connection with the divine and their intuitive abilities. And I just want to say that, like, for me, it personally hones them because it's almost like when you find the right medication, the right dose. I have spent a lot of time finding this medication that works for me, and I had to have like a lot of procedures too. Like I had transcranial uh it was nuts. I had my brain zapped and everything. It's crazy. But when you find the right like path of treatment, what it allows you to do is kind of like remove the noise and like have an even more clear connection to the divine. It's almost like the difference of like being like thrown into like a ocean of information and you can't really swim well. Like there's this sense of panic of like, when are you going to be able to swim to the shore? Even if you have the capacity to swim to the shore, the anxiety of not seeing the shore makes it more difficult, and like your breathing is fucked up, and like so it's like a far more difficult task as opposed to like being in like above ground swimming pool where you can see all sides of the thing, so you're able to like float and relax and know that you can get in and out of it as you need to. um and that's just about like the ease, right? In terms of like access to information, I do have the same access, and I feel like I'm even better able to navigate the Akashic records because instead of like, you know, looking through the books in the library and like a panic and it's like, oh, I have to read this in 10 minutes and I don't know what's going to happen. There's like this, I'm better able to recognize illusions. And so there's this sense of like timelessness as I like uncover truth, and I'm more able to kind of like sit in divine timing. And so instead of like going into the library and just pulling out a whole bunch of books that I'm not even gonna read because they're like calling to me, I'm able to like put some back and like get the ones that are actually gonna be the most helpful for me in this moment. And so it's a lot more clarity, um, and a lot more quiet. And not to say that like I feel like I have all the psychic accesses I did before, but I also am able to kind of like approach it from less of a energy of embodied fear and anxiety. It's more so like, not to say that I'm not afraid of the shit. Like that'd be crazy. There's some wild stuff happening, but it's more like the, if it was like an inside out thing, my fear got a little quieter. It's getting pushed to the side, and instead, like my peace is like trying to drive the ship instead. And so it's lit, and I highly recommend it if you're fucking crazy as fuck. The hard part is like finding a mental health practitioner who you trust, who is going to be able to kind of like understand the multiplicity of the thing. For me, I was very lucky to find a healthcare team or multiple people in the path of my healing who believed in magic themselves, or at least had deep respect for it, if they, even if it wasn't a part of their reality. And so that's kind of helped to like, be able to articulate the differences here. And there's people like that out there. It's just hard as fuck to find, type shit. But like, just don't get discouraged. It's okay to like get fed up from it and like take a break from it for a while and then like, kind of go back out there and try to find someone new, because it is very disappointing, and like you're allowed to feel the disappointment of like, jumping through a million hoops and then finally seeing a therapist, and the therapist is not going to be someone who's going to help you grow. It's just know that there's people out there who actually can, type shit.